Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Good evening and welcome to Kardec Radio. My name is Teresa Castro and I'm the host for the Sunday 6 p.m. Prayer for Peace program. Welcome, 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 whether you're listening to this on demand or you are here live with me. Thank you so much for being here. And this evening, our message centers around peace. Of course, it's a Prayer for Peace program, right? And we take this message from the book. Hello, Slavic. Welcome. We take this message from the book Action and Reaction. And this is one of the books in the Andre Luiz series. And just a little bit of, I don't want to say too much about the story, but in particular, the section we're going to read is taken in the lower zones. Hi, Narciso. Andre Luiz and a cohort, Hilario, are learning. They're students, right? And they're in the spiritual realm and they're learning. And they have an instructor Druso, that is overseeing their learning, right? So they're in the lower zones and they're at a service station that's called Mansion of Peace, Mansão de Paz. And so this place it's in the lower zones, but it's a service station in that lower order spirits who are ready to transform, to change, who are repentant and remorseful, go to this mansion, as it's called, and there they will receive assistance. Okay, so even though it's in the lower zone, it is very much run by elevated spirits and spirits trying to do the good. Hi, Betsy, welcome. So again, it's action and reaction. And so Andre and Hilario, the students, are like kind of perplexed. This is a mansion of peace and they're being continually bombarded by the lower order spirits that are in the environment. So they're pretty much like in a war zone. They call them electronic bombardment cannons. The rays they shoot at us contain elements of affliction that cause the worst fits of terror and madness. So, Hilario and Andre are a little bit confused. Why is this called the Mansion of Peace? And so Instructor Druso says to them, the conflicts are never ending here. Sounds familiar, right? In the world, the conflicts are never ending. Said the instructor with serene dignity. However, we have learned that peace is not a victory of inertia. Rather, it is the result of the balance between faith in the divine power and trust in ourselves as we work for the victory of the good. So we can pretty much say that Instructor Druso is defining peace for us. Hi, Mark Carlos. Thank you for signing in. Nice to see you here this evening. So they're pretty much giving us a definition for peace, right? He says it's not a victory of inertia, right? So it's not something that just descends upon us in stillness or idleness. It doesn't just descend upon us. He says it's the result of a balance between faith in the divine power and trust in ourselves as we work for the victory of the good. So it's not this victimized role, right? That we're on this lower zone. There's all these conflicts. We just got to bear it. No, he's actually saying to us, we are co-creators and we express our faith in doing the good. So, it's a balance. So we don't run off on our own and say, okay, we know how to handle this. We just need to instill all these laws and everyone needs to follow them and everything's going to be okay. No, it is that we look for guidance and we ask for help and we look to the higher realms for divine guidance, because in and of ourselves, we are limited and we don't necessarily make the best choice for all. So it's a beautiful definition of peace and reminds us that we need to be proactive, and we do have an active role in peace. So we don't have to say, well, I can't bring on world peace, so forget it, it's not worth it. We all know that peace begins within. And Jesus was very upfront in telling us we are not going to find happiness and necessarily peace in this world in the absolute sense, but we can in the relative sense. We can have a peace of mind. We can have a conscience that is at ease. And how do we do this? By practicing the good. um, so I think it's a beautiful definition that Instructor Teresa gives us to understand peace and our involvement, how we can partake in peace. And we should. And I think it's a great example because here they are in this lower zone. They're being bombarded. They're like in a war zone, right? They're like under constant attack by these lower order spirits. So it very much is representation of what we experience today. Maybe not us living here in the United States directly, but we know other countries are very much experiencing this. So I would like to actually take another book of Andre Luiz, and this is Workers of Life Eternal. And again, we find Andre Luiz learning in the lower zones. And this time, and I would like to use this message. It's not exactly a prayer, but I'd like to use it for our prayer for peace, because I feel like it very much is about peace. And just to give you a little background information of the piece that we're going to read. Hi, Abby Shear. Thank you for the reminders. You are so welcome, my friend. Thank you for being here. So a little bit of the background to this story, or the piece that we're going to be reading, is, again, Andre Luiz is in the lower zone, and he's with a group that is providing aid to spirits that are in the lower zones. And in particular, it is a priest, a discarnated priest who did not live an upright life. So he's in the lower zone, and he's been very resistant to change. And they've been sending rescue missions to him, in particular, to help this particular spirit. And just part of the transformation, or this spirit coming around, is a conversation he has with his mother, who's also a discarnated spirit, who comes to the lower zone as well to help in helping this individual to transform. And so what we're going to be listening to for our final prayer, for this prayer for peace moment, is actually the mother having the conversation with this spirit, but it so applies to the rest of us and so appropriate for today. Okay, so I invite you, if you can, to close your eyes, if you're in a safe place, and to try to connect with the words of this prayer. Do not allow the anguishing memory of days gone by to become an insurmountable obstacle to getting what you need at present. All those whom we have hurt have not disappeared forever. They are as alive as we are, and in the condition of a humble servant, we may look for our creditors of times past, thereby, on our own behalf, attending to the demands of the redemption we need so much. Success, however, requires a heart that is aflame with living faith, along with an open mind that is ready to understand the good and put it to use. Without daring hope and without a spirit of service, it will be very difficult for us to settle the heavy debts that chain our soul to the dense lower spheres. In order for us to win such values, reflect upon eternity and God's infinite love. Do not imprison yourself in thoughts of a human nature, seeing sacrifices where there are only sublime opportunities for happiness and redemption. If your conscience accuses you, ask Jesus to bathe your soul with blessed hope. One drop of this divine dew is all it takes for the desert of your soul to flourish and bear fruit in blessings of peace and happiness for all eternity. Do not get discouraged. God enables the light of day to follow the darkness of night. Why shouldn't we put all our trust in the supreme power? We are nothing, but our merciful Father is capable of all things. And so be it. There you have it, my friends. Good messages for us to remember about keeping an open heart and being willing to trust in divine providence and ourselves as we do the good, and leaving the outcomes, the result, to God. So beautiful. I wish you all a good week, and I hope to see you again next week. Same time, same channel, Kardec Radio, where we're always nourishing our souls, and we can have another prayer for peace moment. Thank you so much for being here. God bless. Have a good week, and let's remember to do something good for someone else. Blessings.